Welcome, everyone. I'm Karina Andersen. I'm the founder of SmilingOne and the Circles of Change Academy. Today, Franklin Esau is joining me. He is a SmilingOne change agent. So, Franklin, what can our viewers, our listeners look forward to?
Today, we are talking about leadership and development and how at school we have found our partners in education and how to elevate and evolve and just grow into your change, unlocking your potential.
It's beautiful. It's really from desert to oasis. There are so many talking points. And we have a deep focus on the Ravensmead High School project, a 6-year project that we have just concluded in 2024. So stay tuned for an amazing conversation today. We're already like 24 days into 2025. And it's a new year, it's a new season here for us at SmilingOne. And we are considering to go online at least once a month to just share with our network just pockets of the work that we do and also pockets of the work that we have done. And it's the perfect season, of course, to reflect on the beautiful work that has been done at Ravensmead High School. We've just concluded 6 years, and you've been a project lead at Ravensmead High. So maybe just give us a small just a small introduction to who you are, Franklin. Who are you in SmilingOne? Why have you been at Ravensmead High School? What's your role? And, just to set some context before we step into more of the theme today of growth and development and how we at SmilingOne set up environments for change.
So I am Franklin, SmilingOne change agent and project lead at Ravensmead High School. Um, I think that one of the most beautiful things in or being at Ravensmead High School was about the crime prevention aspect. And for me, it started way back in 2012, 2013, when I actually understood that there was a lot of inmates that we've worked with and prisons that we've worked with, and then they spoke about the childhood story and that bend or that curve that kind of like led them into crime. And after a few months, years working with them, I was really keen into understanding more about that childhood story. And where do we find the child? In our exploration or in our research, we've been to primary schools. That was actually one of the things that I said to Karina. I'm not doing primary schools anymore.
Because
It's
you
too
had
much energy.
So
It's
from
too
a
much energy.
context, so from a context perspective, part of your journey and your education, Circles of Change education with SmilingOne, you've studied with SmilingOne for more than 15 years. This will be your 16th year, right?
Yes.
And part of that study was to take the concepts, our enabling platform, into school environment. And what did you do? It was grade 6 or something like that. That was your first project way back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes, grade six, grade six.
Ooh,
The
you were
energy
like
was
tearing your
high.
hair out.
The energy was just high, and I really came to understood something about the young energy. It's vibrant, it's
Yeah.
explorative, it's hype, it's curious, and when it comes to understanding that story or where you are at in life, it's
Mm,
really about standing still for a moment and
mm,
come to understand what am I experiencing? What is this that is happening to me? We fast forward into high school. I love how the curiosity and the keen on understanding was just the beautiful aspect for students
So when
to
you say fast forward into high school, what do you mean?
then after finding that the high energy in primary school was not conducive to that still moments, that moments of
Okay.
where you get into yourself, your development. We move on to high schools and to explore more and to find um, a more suitable candidate
I see you. Yeah, we were
to
looking for our
explore.
candidates on the journey
Yes,
exactly to receive our teachings because every organization has a certain target market. And of course, Smiling One and you also said that has been working for many years in prison environments. So they have been
yes,
like a very captured audience, but we knew we had them. Of course, it's different in a school environment. And for what we do, which is leadership development, you do need an audience that you can have in a moment of presence and really make sure that we can take our concepts and train our audience, our students, our beneficiaries. And high school was much more conducive for that.
yes, and the way that the the Smiling One approach just complement the students in high school is that when you are going through a challenge or when life becomes challenging, it is such a beautiful strategy to just pause for a moment, to just sit down, and that hosting that platform for students was was complimentary. It was beautiful. It just gave them something different because life can be so fast paced and you have to get in your accidents, in your challenges, and then on to the next. And here you have Smiling One presenting a platform where you can just pause for a moment before you go back into the big world and deal with your challenges. Um, I love the aspects where I was at the forefront of these special journeys of students that really wanted to learn, know more, develop, change their life, um, start to have vision. And I never knew that it would be such a broad, or the process would expand where you find um,
Mm.
build relationships even with their parents, you build the relationships with their teachers. Um, the school and Smiling One start to have this special relationship where we they open up their gates, or open up the environment for us to be a part of them and
Yeah.
really assist them in many ways.
Mm.
One of the great things is that you have a student that believes in that life is going to be my my journey.
Yeah.
Life is going to be what I prefer it to be. Life is going to be special for me. You
Mm.
have a student that starts to smile, starts to find magic in the world. You have a student that
Mm.
understand that my power and my ability. You have students who are, wow, who are trying for 3 years grades, repeating 3 years grades, and then all of a sudden the sparks come and then they fly through high school and they're like, if I knew it was like this, I would have done this like way before even. You have just these special stories. And for me, it was very special because why? It also helped me become better in a lot of aspects about connecting with people,
Mm.
about understanding people, and how I can find these practical tools to apply in my life also. So it was a very
Beautiful.
special journey.
So it's interesting, hey, that our first focus was, of course, working with the children. And I love how you invite us into the world of the child because we're talking about a high risk school, right? We're not talking about any school. Ravensmead High, a school in a high risk area. I mean, the environment is violent. There's crime, there's poverty, there's a lot of abuse going on around them, drugs, alcohol, so it's so easy to fall victim. Also to mindsets of that, this is my reality, this is my world, and that's how my life is going to look like. And to be able to give them a process and a travel companion that helps them see things differently and reframe their experience. That's what we do at Smiling One. So when I said we set up an environment for change, we go in and become travel companions. We need to get into the engine rooms. We need to get into the heart. And it's something you can push. It happens quite organically, this process of being welcomed in and kind of get the key to, we want to work with you. So setting up this environment for change, having the travel companions, and also very important that we have programs. We have an academy where we have our value-based leadership approach, which is an evidence-based approach. So you've been using the tools and the skills and your education with Smiling One that you brought into Ravensmead to travel alongside the students. And what I'm thinking about is that when we arrived at Ravensmead, and maybe we can give the listeners today like a view about, when we came to Ravensmead in 2019, that's when we started, and how it was void back then of a growth mindset, of stepping into leadership. It was really a survival space. It was like, could be likened to a desert. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, because that's important, because we want today to kind of show the growth trajectory, just to invite our viewers in for a little moment, a glimpse into what that evolution looked like. So take us back to 2019, 2020, those early days of the project, Franklin.
It wow, I don't know where to start. I think that one of the realizations of the working with schools, because Ravensmead High was our fifth year into schools, exploring the environment of schools and having schools as partners in education. I think that I found the realization of there's so many aspects missing that doesn't allow time for all these individuals to connect with one another.
Yeah.
The environment is so disengaged from one another. There's very little understanding for individuality and how things can really work well as an engine and move along in a system and as unity. And what I found is that when you have students that doesn't know, when you have individuals that doesn't know about what else is out there, you kind of like move in this one lane and in this one direction, because the educational environment is so intense, because while there's a lot of things that needs to be done and it's forever changing, the key focus and the sole focus is then educate, 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 and educate.
Yeah.
And as an individual, we bring a lot of who we are, what we experience sometimes, what we go through at times, to the environment. And you have an environment that vibrates quite fast-paced. Everything moves, everything goes. No one gets time really to pause and sit down and focus on aspects of leadership, focus on aspects of development. And it was so different to come along with a special tool and build this special platform. And here you are in an environment that's forever moving, forever changing. I mean, I at one moment, I do have the periodic table of the time period of the day and how things are going. And then inside the first period, the first thing that we need to do, then everything changes, then turns around, and I'm like, I need to keep up. Whoa, slow down. How do I keep up with all of this?
Yeah.
And you really learn to find your feet and work at a different pace
Yeah.
and invite partners of education in there. One of the most significant things for me was that we sometimes miss crucial aspects of part of connection, of part of communion.
Mm.
And there was just this gentle approach, and I love it how Smiling One incorporate all these values into our approaches.
Mm.
And I was looking at where is our values in this environment, and you kind of like have to search, and I realized I was so different because why I want to speak soft. I want to speak kind. I
Mm.
want to make things clear. I want to build understanding.
Mm.
And yet everything was on command prompt. Get there, do this, go, move, hurry up. And I'm like, ooh, that's quite intense for a community to have such an approach. And fusing that core values into
Yeah.
our approach and who we are as Smiling One
Mm.
made such a huge difference that after a while, you see in the desert, people start to come to Smiling and, hey, what's this about? Hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, what are you? And it was so beautiful in the start of it all. It was so beautiful to see people's curiosity, to see actually individuals not just bending or not just
Mm.
conforming, but they became complementary to Smiling One's core values, where that core value started to spread out further. Because why you have teachers that becomes more understandable. You
Yeah.
have teachers that becomes more gentle. You have teachers, I cannot tell you how many times I have been called by teachers to assist in the gentle approach
Mm.
and to help them find that key aspect of connecting with a student. And that approach just made all the difference. Smiling One started to be the co-on person, the
Yeah.
co-on
Help, help,
organization,
help.
help, 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 let's do this. Please assist with this, please help
Beautiful.
with this. And it has grown where we have become the school's intervention go to, because why each school needs to have a intervention approach for students when they are going through
Yeah.
difficulties. And the school decided Smiling One is going to be our intervention program. And I'm like, okay, okay,
Well, that's
something
a huge
new.
step, right? When we look at growth and
Yes.
development, because also what happened was, of course, the pandemic happened and it became
Mm,
a golden opportunity because you just said that it's so busy, this environment, that teachers hardly get time to sit and reflect and to work inwardly and to relook at their approach and to get that deeper understanding. Because first we were offering our intensified program, objective one of our program, to students. Okay? So we facilitated the responsible individual, which is our leadership program, the step one for basic environments and the first steps into understanding ownership. And I own my experience. And what happened through the pandemic was, of course, suddenly nobody came to school, only the grade 12s. And it opened a moment for the teachers to come to sessions. They had seen over the first year how student came to Smiling One, these students, how they came and how they left and feeling lifted, looking differently, smiling, shifting. Of course, they also had these students in their classes, so they had exposure to what Smiling One offered, this enabling platform, this difference. Suddenly the students became like little lighthouses, right? So for the teachers to join the program in 2020 and now that was quite important for them now to invite us more deeply in, and also for them to invite us and management to invite us to become their intervention program. So that's quite significant, right? Because when we start a program, so Smiling One, well, many call us the gas station, but we are very aware of that a gas station can easily become a crutch and a drug, right? I want to hang out at the gas station all the time, just get another sip. But we know that we are not with our clients 24/7. The intention is not to create a relationship where they're depending on Smiling One. We offer leadership development. And our task is, of course, to take out the leader in them. So we already at the beginning of a project, we think about sustainability. So how will we help this environment shift into a space where they own their growth, where all of them are beacons? And we, of course, look for the early adopters. We look for those that are going to help set up the environment for change and that are going to stay in the environment. And of course, we started already seeing the students becoming brand ambassadors, and they were infecting some of the teachers. A big shift from a program and implementation perspective certainly was to get the teachers on board. There's no doubt that that is really important in a sustainability strategy. And so maybe you could talk also into that, how, because you just mentioned we became part of the school's intervention, the teachers really stepping in and also starting to infect the other teachers. Hey, because we went the first year, we had 6 teachers. The year after, we had 12 teachers. Then we grew to more and more teachers. So maybe just invite us a little bit into that part of the growth
I,
conversation.
I think that if I can step into our discovery while being here, because
Yeah,
while Smiling One is also forever growing and forever learning,
yeah,
and maybe to go more in depth about that later on, was the aspect of how we discovered that special role that a teacher plays in a student's educational career,
yeah,
in a student's ability, unlocking and tickling uh, um, really a toolbox that they can move forward in life with. And much of it is about academic development, which is no less from where they are stationed at school, because while that is their primary function, education, and you realize that the student comes in there with a lot of stuff that they are experiencing. As you mentioned, the high-risk environment with so much challenges in the community, and experiencing those challenges was just something. Wow, these kids deals with a lot coming to school,
yeah,
and the teacher then sits with this whole of the student. And sometimes it's a lot, because what teachers are good at and exceptional at is educating. Teachers
yeah,
does that, they sleep. I asked them themselves, and that was their answer. And you realize that a teacher needs more tools. A teacher
yeah,
needs more to assist in the broader aspect of the individuals that they are teaching. When they started to see the light and they started to see the difference in a student that goes to Smiling One in a experiencing a certain situation, and the student comes back, you have a whole different student now. They also wondered and were curious, what is this about and what is that?
yeah,
One of the teachers mentions to me that I saw them smile after coming back from Smiling One, and I always like, I need that, man. I want that light. I want to feel that kind of way about my educational environment. And when they joined, and I love how it was group sessions instead of individual sessions. Yes, individual sessions is powerful, it's beautiful. But to them coming as a group of teachers, it meant that they could really assist and help each other in the aspects that they were challenging, that they were challenged within the environment. And that made such a difference where they started to became then ambassadors of the program, when they started to share the word, when they started to speak to their colleagues about, hey, I think you need to come and sit in for sessions. And and it was about the conversations that you see your colleague going through this like deep situation in class and with the students and the environment. And then you're like, I think you need to come to Smiling One sessions for the teachers. And that was so beautiful because why? It meant that we could grow.
Yeah.
So it was unfamiliar with teachers that
Mm.
there could be support in that way
Yeah.
in a school environment, even for them. And yes, a lot of teachers were skeptical because this doesn't happen at school. We
Mm.
don't get sessions at school. We
Yeah.
don't get an organization like Smiling One and come and support us. Where have you heard about stuff like that? So we really kind of like broaden a barrier that was there
Yeah.
like for a long time. And
Mm.
it made teachers then realize that what Smiling One is doing, Smiling One is giving us an opportunity to expand. It's
Yeah.
giving us an opportunity to fill our leadership toolbox, because while we are standing in a classroom as the leader of that classroom, and
Yeah.
I need to equip myself and understand more about those that I present education to.
Sure.
Yes, I am a beautiful teacher. I'm equipped. I've gone to school. I have honors. I have masters. I have all this kind of stuff. But there are certain aspects that I need to understand more. One of the teachers mentions to me, and this is so significant
Mm.
in any approach when you present something to a group of people.
Mm.
One of the teachers mentions to me that when I met Smiling One, I could then understand, as much as this is a classroom of 40 to 50 students,
Sure.
I need to approach them individually to understand more about how can I assist them,
Yeah.
because by what I'm doing as a group, there's someone right there who doesn't understand that strategy,
Mm.
that approach. And Smiling One gave me that insight. And I'm like, Smiling One did that? Are you sure it wasn't hidden and Smiling One just tickled it out of you? And
There you. Oh, I
just
love.
to,
That's very important. Sorry, but I mean, I love that's so important because that what we do, right, is we help lift the veil so they can tap into their inner resourcefulness because it's all there. So when we go to an environment that is like a desert, not just culturally, but also individually, because we're stuck in a certain mindset. Once you begin to get exposed and you train these tools in a safe space, on our enabling platform, with our trained team, with our concept and toolkit, you begin to realize it's all there. And that is really important because the teachers become part of those that beat the drum of change, because we also see that when we look at then, like, I think 3 years into us being there. So we started 2019. So I think it was 2022, right? 2023, that now they start to also become more hungry, bring in more leadership programs. I think 3 years into our presence at the school, they're now saying, whoa, okay, we actually need more of this. How can we bring in more of this? So like 3 years in, it was another one, so Smiling One and another one. And now 2024, it's 6 leadership programs that are coexisting in the environment. And that is a wonderful symbol of that which comes alive, and the hunger for development, and also the realization, because you said it with, they're so busy. So yes, they're gaining the understanding of, I have to deal with the student as in a holistic way, not just in an academic way, not just as a group, but as an individual, but I need help on the journey. I know I still have my academic responsibilities. So how can I have more partnerships that supports this, creating this enabling platform? Because Smiling One is not going to walk forever with people. As I said, we don't want to be a crutch. I mean, we love working with people, but we love seeing them fly, go solo, right? Just like, and any parent out there will know exactly what that means. You don't want your kids to stay until they're 50. Then I think we failed as parents if they cannot fly into the journey. And I think similar in any project, we think sustainability. We know that what we bring to a community, the community must be able to sustain it and grow it, and also be innovative, creative, come up with their own ideas. And when we speak from teachers' perspective, because I mean, we can talk a lot about this for many hours, but I also don't want to sit here for hours and hours, but just give a window for the viewer, because I know their time is also sacred, is really to see also how the teachers in their growth trajectory, because we've had many of those that we call TRI teachers, so TRI, the responsible individuals, so those that have come to session with us, growing in their careers, right? I mean, last year we had somebody becoming interim head, right? Or was that the year before, interim head of his department? We've had teachers who are now seniors, right? So maybe speak a little bit into that, what you're looking at from a growth perspective in the careers, because they are part of shaping the future of this school and shaping this cohesive environment. So it's not that after 6 years that the problems are all gone, but the school is equipped to take care of their problems. And they're starting to have teachers in seats that are making decisions for how the school operates, right?
Yeah, and and
Yeah.
and that is exciting.
Mhm.
I love how, and I think the length of the project is really important.
Yeah.
We discovered how beautiful it was building a runway, and teachers needs to go through a journey, because why you don't just one session with Smiling One and then, oh, you got this and everything is A4 way.
Yeah.
And I love how you mentioned that challenges doesn't disappear, because why, the conversation with me and the teacher that went to become interim head of his department, the conversation was that I have been sitting in the staff room, I've been complaining, I've been mad, I've been furious at how things are going, and now I am at this forefront where I am head of my department. I think that there's a lot of stuff that I can introduce to kind of like
Yeah.
help and assist in what we lacked, and how we can find sufficiency amongst colleagues and amongst our approach and how we do things. And he says that I think that if I didn't join Smiling One, I would have still been the guy who sit in the staff room and complained. I
Yeah.
would have still been the guy who was furious and mad. And I sometimes I didn't like coming to work. Sometimes I was like, oh, do I have to go to this place again? But now he's so excited, because why, he bears now a responsibility to his colleagues,
Yeah.
to those in his department. He says that I'm loving how I go sit next to them and like, how can we do this? Let's figure this out. Oh, do you need this? Can I give you this tool? And it has been
Lovely.
such a shift in the individual, where he is playing now a crucial part in
Mm.
the development of the environment now,
Yeah.
of the development of the whole of the educational system inside his school. And that has been beautiful to see how teachers then open up, because while you have teachers who's like, I think I need to come to Smiley One group sessions. And everybody's like, well, you need to go to senior position. You need to do something. And like, no, I don't do this. I don't want that kind of pressure. I don't want to deal with all of these people. And once a teacher then comes to Smiling One and
Yeah.
next fast forward to a couple of years and oh, the teacher's vice principal now. And I'm like,
There's another
you,
example, right? We have another,
yes,
yes, we
you
have quite
remember
a,
the words you said? You don't want to deal with all the stuff. And say, no, I'm enjoying it. I love. Then my colleagues come to me, I speak to them, I assist them, and I'm like, okay, that's a nice shift. And you
yeah,
have these kind of developments with inside. You have a teacher like she's been doing the junior students like for years, and
yeah.
she's been comfortable doing that. And
Ah,
then she's like, 1 year she goes to and she tells me, do you know what I did? And go and ask the principal. And I'm like, no, what did you do? I
mm,
actually said to the principal, I need to start doing senior students now. And I'm like, what? You
love
were
that.
so comfortable with the
Yeah,
juniors. No, 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 I need to do that. And I'm like, okay, that's the shift now. And it speaks so volumes about teachers not hiding from challenges, not challenges defeating them, not challenging challenges
okay.
disenabling them. You
Yeah,
have teachers now that goes into the grind, that goes and work with the challenges, that wants to figure things out, that wants to understand more, that wants to expand, that wants to explore and know that we don't have it all, but we have to start getting involved
yeah,
because while sitting on the sideline, you have an environment that crushes you, you have an environment that defeats you, you don't feel your career, you feel so heavy about everything.
yeah.
And once you start becoming so involved, because why here is, and I would like to close with this, and I was kind of like a fly on the wall in the staff room. And the question I ask, do the teachers that speak out here, the teachers that talk, the teachers
Mhm.
that gives opinions, the teachers that wants to understand and know more, how many of them are TRI teachers? No, most of the TRI teachers talk. They want to know and they want to. And I'm like, oh, and that speaks a beautiful thing about
Mm,
starting to get involved and not
exactly.
just sitting back and not just accepting this is how it can be. Oh, I feel so, I feel like this. You start to take the power in your hands and understand that I can do something about the situation. I can do something about my career,
Exactly.
about my
Mm.
health, about my individuality, and to support and help my colleagues. So yeah, it was a beautiful development for teachers.
No, completely. And it is what also ensures sustainability, that we see the thriving that happens when you step into your journey and you realize you can be victorious. Because in the desert, it's easy to feel defeated, but you also keep feeding that reality yourself, and you have to step into ownership. That's why we call it the responsible individual. You have to start leading in your change, and that is what we support them with. And anybody who's curious about our work and following the 6 years, evolution at Ravensmead High, we have phenomenal annual reports that are accessible on our website via the Circles of Change Academy. And you just say /SOF, the Smiling One Foundation, you're going to find all these beautiful reports, and you will see different case studies, showcases of the teachers and the students, because the same is, of course, in the student journey that we work closely with, also to showcase for the teachers how it looks like working with parents. Also, I mean, we're super process driven at Smiling One. So, I mean, a successful project doesn't just happen. It is a lot of work and a lot of strategy. I mean, Smiling One also works in businesses and with entrepreneurs. So we have a mindset for business, a mindset for processes, for structure, for growth. And that is important. So when we help schools, organizations, whoever we help to set up an environment for change, to get those early adopters who are going to own the culture and the well-being of the culture, like that's what we're here to help with. And that is what ultimately is going to shift the environment. So we help perform those shifts from the desert into a more engaged and involved individual who now owns that I'm gonna make sure this community thrives. And yes, in the Ravensmead community, it's still high risk community. But I want you to imagine that over years of having leaders like this showing up, students who begin to realize I'm not my circumstances, I'm not what happened to me. Over years, that's also going to shift Ravensmead community on a larger scale. And that's, we think long term at SmilingOne, and you said it to Franklin, it takes time. We need time. And we're excited about 2024, about the possibilities, helping more schools. And if you're a school out there, if you're an organization, if you're anybody out there who feel inspired by these conversations we're going to bring to you this year about how we run projects and some of the highlights for us in our projects, reach out to us, explore with us, have a chat with us. We're very keen to serve on a big, big level. And also, you see, nature. I love taking my sessions into nature and my connects into nature because it reminds me everything is a process. There's always growth in process. And that we learn to listen to what are the steps. So as we stand here on the threshold, open the door to a new year, there's a lot of things we don't know about this year. And that excites us because we know that when we do things from our heart, all that is meant to happen and guide us, it would lead us to new, beautiful places on the journey. So stay tuned, keep following us. We're definitely going to bring you one of these conversations at least once a month, maybe a little bit more frequently. Let's see what we get up to. A last word, Franklin, to
No,
all
I would
the
just like to
listeners?
say, that the beauty in the process is that when you find a community,
Yeah,
that you can really work with, that you can grow with, that you can develop with. And school has been that community for not just for me, for a lot of the students, a lot of the teachers. They have the community that later on starts to speak one language,
yeah,
because while development and leadership and change, it's beautiful. But I discovered that a lot of people has the question, where do I start?
yeah,
How do I do it? How do
yeah,
I go about this? And you realize that when you have two or three people that come together and really says that, let's give this a shot, let's explore, let's try to understand more what this is about. You give yourself an opportunity to just elevate yourself, to just upgrade a different version of yourself, man. So yeah.
beautiful. Thank you, Franklin. It's been such an amazing conversation today. And to all the
Thank
listeners
you.
out there, thank you for spending time with us today. I know time is like something we all treasure. We know there's not a lot of it, and the year's already 24 days into the year. So we do appreciate that you took a moment to tune into this conversation. And yeah, we send you lots of love for 2025, and we see you next time.
Next time.
Next time.